Black question.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Portsmouth Coffee Talks podcast. I'm James Slim Overton. I thought I heard some. Oh, hold on. All right, had to turn off the sound on one of my screens here. Anyway, welcome to the podcast, and we have I'm here with co-host Thomas the Colonel Chapman and guest co-host. He's becoming a regular here, Wesley Van down there in Georgia. And
Yeah.
we're here this morning, and every day we rise, it's a great day to be alive. And first of all, I want you to like, subscribe, comment, and share. And we looking for those comments while we're here live. Just bring them on. So this is Hot Topics Monday for March. Every first Monday of the month, we have Hot Topics. And I call this the beginning of a political March Madness. Now, it's been going on for a while, but this is just the March Madness. It's not even the day is the 3rd, and here we are into March Madness, political March Madness. So
It's
we're going to have a discussion about that. There's a lot to talk about today. But before we get started, gentlemen, I want you to hear a little bit from Elon Musk go. Elon must go on Joe Rogan. Hold on.
Social Security is the biggest Ponzi scheme of all time.
Right, explain that.
Oh, so well, people pay into Social Security, and the money goes out of Social Security immediately. But the obligation for Social Security is your entire retirement career. So you're paying with you're paying like if you look at the future obligations of Social Security, it far exceeds the tax revenue. Far. Have you ever looked at the debt clock?
Yes.
Okay. There's our present day debt, but then there's our future obligations. So when you look at the future obligations of Social Security, the actual national debt is like double what people think it is because of the future obligations. So basically, people are living way longer than expected, and there are fewer babies being born. So you have more.
Okay, you heard that last part. Fewer babies being born. Now, where have we heard that before? But anyway, I think about Social Security, and they're talking about a lot more money is going out. People are living longer, but it's a lot of people that work all their life and pay into Social Security and never collect the check. So there's sort of a balance there. Don't wish anybody to go before. I remember when my father passed away. He was getting Social Security. He was working, but once you get a certain age, you're gonna get that Social Security check. And they had sent the check, but he had died. He had passed away. They had sent the check. They asked for that check back because they didn't say so. Well, go ahead and keep it since. But he had died, and the check came, and they asked for it back. And my point is, he's making that point about people living longer, and it's sort of bankrupting the system, and all these people that are putting into it, and some of them never collect. So where does that money go? But anyway, I just thought you want to hear that. Don't have to discuss him. You can go ahead and start, Colonel, with what you want to start with.
Well, I'll add, since you brought up Social Security and elongated must is
Elon must go.
well, muskrat, elongated muskrat. But the thing is, too, people on Social Security, those with disabilities. So you're born with a disability, you're in this country, then they're automatically put on disability, and so they are also taking or on the disability rolls out of the same Social Security account, and they have never paid into this account. And then so you'll see across this country where you'll see a lot of kids and teenagers and parents that, or not parents, but adults that are being that have these big large disabilities subsided by or aided by Social Security throughout their entire lives, and so they'll be getting a check for the rest of their lives. People don't understand that saying if you're married and one of the spouses die, that the kids get a Social Security check. And all of those things, what I'm trying to say, are things that help people across the country. So elongated muskrat is not saying that, yes, he is talking about the impending debt that's out there, and he's talking about we don't live long enough or we don't have enough babies and stuff like that. And that's all tied into the South African apartheid system, that we need to have more white babies born so we can sort of straighten out this mess. But he's not saying, well, why not we just not do this big tax cut that's going to put at least $4.5 trillion on the balance sheet, and then we can use that money to straighten out some of the debt or pay down on this debt. No mention of that. I need to be the robber baron to frighten America, to say this is a problem, so I need to get y'all off the rolls, and so we can straighten up. So I and my buddies and Comrade Trump can get richer and richer and richer on the backs of y'all poor folks that voted for us. So that's my piece.
I agree with you, Colonel. You know, there's no honor among thieves. And first of all, we listen to that, but what my grandmother used to say, both my grandmothers say, remember the source.
Yeah.
And he has admitted openly that he lies. He said that, yeah, I lied when I said that they spent $100 million on condoms going to one of the countries over there, and it was only like 1.5 million, and because they were getting a very high HIV rate going on, we decided to send condoms over there, but it wasn't anywhere close to what Elon Musk said. Now, he said fewer babies were born, and you're exactly right, Colonel. This is the white whistle right here. And I'm gonna just, as the Black Eagle used to say, I'm gonna just put it where the ghost can get it.
Mm-hmm.
This election, and I've said it before, this election was purely about nothing else but white superiority. There was a video out where this man he's head of the National American Nazi Association. Who could ever come up with an organization like that? But he said that he voted for Donald Trump for one reason and one reason only, and he's got hundreds of thousands of followers behind him. He said, because we as white people have got to maintain our majority. And as long as we can do that, we will maintain us being in charge. And he said, there's no group of people anywhere in the world that does not want to be in charge. And so us as white folks, we have to make sure that we stay in charge in the areas in which we live. Now, that's it. That's bottom line. No else. We can close the door. We can end this program. We can go home right here. But when he said fewer babies are being born, you're right, Colonel. He's just talking about the white kids. That's all he's talking about. He's not talking about black folks or the Latino or the Chinese or the Asian folks. He's purely talking about, because see, they probably are a dying race, because I kind of give them the fact that they are like, when God created white folks, that was like a canvas that painters and an artist paints on. And then when you add different colors and different shades and different groups and cultures of people, you create a beautiful human being. It's a gorgeous person.
Mm-hmm.
But white folks can't say that. You know, they want to maintain their whiteness. They want to maintain their superiority. Elon Musk ain't doing nothing. We are witnessing one of the greatest heists in the history of the world.
Mm-hmm.
When
Mm-hmm.
I heard Donald Trump and Elon say that they wanted to go to Fort Knox to see the gold, to make sure that the gold is there, I was like, oh my God, they get ready to get us for real. They really did. They really are. And so you've got this man. Now, one thing, other thing, people have to remember businesses and corporations do not run the same way as a government. They're two entirely different entities. Corporations and businesses are run for profit. I grant that they're run for profit. They could care less about people. Government is run for the people. It's to make sure that if my house catches on fire right now, that a fire truck is going to be able to come. It's going to come if I have an accident today. The police are going to come and do a report. If I got to go to the hospital, an ambulance is going to be there. That's what government does. If somebody is encroaching on this land from a foreign country, we have a military to stand the ground. That's what a government does. And it also makes sure now when we were leaders of the free world, we took care of the poor and the humble. We did everything that they said that supposedly that they said that they were going to do. And you're right too, Slim. You know, my mother died at 53 years old and never got the opportunity to receive her Social Security. And I did inquire about that. You know, what happens to that? And they said, well, we got $255 that we're going to give you for the burial. I told John T. Fisher, who was living during that time, he said, let's just keep that. There was nothing that could be done with that. But you're right. It checks and balances. They wiped out all. Elon, he's such a crook and such a liar. You know, he came from, he knows apartheid. He hates black folks.
Yes.
But he'll never sit there and say it. But he does. He really hates black people because they ran him and his family out of South Africa. They ran over there to Canada. Canada didn't have much to do with him either. Then they came down here to the United States. He's gotten rid of anything that can hurt him. For instance, the FTC, the FCC, the FAA, all these people were watching his SpaceX program, and those missiles are total disasters because they're always blowing up. This ain't just one; it's always one somewhere blowing up. He gets them off every now and then, but he does not follow the rules and regulations. His car is in trouble because his car is killing people. So the Federal Trade Commission is sitting there saying, wait a minute, Mr. Musk, Mr. Musk, you can't do nothing right now. And he goes, yes, I can. They got rid of everybody. So he's going to do what the hell he wants to do, you know. So, and poor little Trump, he just sits there like a little dummy. And he, between Putin and Musk, they sitting there controlling this, you know. Putin wants nothing but the rest of Ukraine. He wants all the minerals that they have. It was foolish for Trump to think that he was going to make a deal. He and Musk done figured out we'll make a deal. Everything's a deal. Ain't no damn deal. You talk about human beings. This man sitting in the office, Zelensky, he's sitting over there. He's burying people every day. Hundreds of thousands of people that he's burying. He's burying babies and mothers and and they sat in the Oval Office and attacked that man for no reason. And I'm surprised that Musk wasn't there because when they asked Zelensky why he ain't had no shirt and tie and suit on, all you gotta do is look at Musk. Musk never wears one.
Yeah.
He never wears a suit and tie to the White House, the highest office in the land. He could give less than a tinker's damn about these United States of America. All he cares about is that money. It's all
Yeah.
about the money. And if he can get his hands on that Social Security, which is something they're really trying to do badly, they want that money because it's a whole lot of it and they can't touch it. The way it's set up, it cannot be touched, but they want it and they trying to get it. That's where the thievery is going to come from right there.
Well, you talking about they can't get it. They are, because they the Republicans, GOP, they own the House, Senate, and the White House, and they can pass, and they want to privatize it. And the minute they privatize it, then your benefits and future benefits will go down, if not zip. And they will get a hold of that money. So all the incoming money will come in there and will go to their privatized stuff. So if you look at it, if you don't have a great return on your money over a lifetime, then you will outspend that money that's going into Social Security, because the money that you pay in the Social Security, and I look at it because it's with your highest 35 years of wages that you paid into Social Security, and that's how you get your Social Security rate. We take out more than what we put in over a 35-year period. So say for those folks that are disabled, if they privatize this, then they are going to be stuck on whoever their families are. There'll be no Social Security disability left out there because they're going to privatize it, because your Social Security account will only have so much, just like your 401k plan. You'll have paid that money into a mutual fund or whatever. And then but when it is spent, you won't have any more money to do anything with.
Yeah. On that point, Colonel, take a listen to this from the Majority Report.
Speaker Johnson is out there, and they are desperate to both have their cake and eat it too. They have passed a budget resolution. This process is gonna take until September, without a doubt. And the budget resolution is like broad strokes. It assigns responsibility from specific committees, which have programs under their auspices, and says, from your programs, you must cut $880 billion, it says to one committee, and that committee happens to oversee Medicaid.
So that's how they're doing it. You know, they put it out to the public, and it's a broad thing, and you don't really know exactly where the cuts are. You know, you can speculate, and they can say, no, we're not cutting this, but they turn it over to those committees and say, here, you got to cut, $800 million. And the committee oversees certain areas, like he said, Medicaid or Social Security. And it's crazy. I want to ask you gentlemen this, and as we talked before the show came on, Colonel, about, and you too, Wesley, about a town next to where you live, where the Republicans are up in arms and in a lot of town hall meetings where their representatives are going back, and some of them said no more town hall meetings.
Yeah.
But anyway, and these are the Republicans, most of them voted for Trump. And these are the ones that, like we talked about months before this happened, what was going to happen. Once it hits them, they're going to realize, wow, they were talking about, I thought y'all were talking about them, not us. And now it's hitting them, and they're all up in arms about it. So what do you guys think about that kind? Will that continue? Is it going to have any kind of effect? Because, it's kind of a little bit after the fact. That we talked about, Colonel, a lot of that should have happened before the election, if you wanted to know details about certain things. But now, they're doing all this booing and standing up and berating their representatives. So what does it mean now? But do you think it's gonna snowball into something that means something, or it's just a little bit too little too late?
Well, I think that they have already said Republicans don't want to have any more town halls because they will die over. So if I'm Speaker Jeffries and I am Chuck Schumer, which I think we need to get another leader in the Senate that's more vocal and more ruthless than Chuck, because we need ruthless leadership in Congress on the Democratic side.
Mm-hmm.
So if they are not, we should not, I could care less if the GOP does not have town hall meetings in their districts. But Democrats, so in 2 years, I pick out who I want to run now against that GOPer, and he or she should be running their own town halls now. And talk about this is what they're doing to you today. This is, so you got laid off at, since you're talking about in Georgia, CDC, you got laid off. Oh, this is what you voted for. And this is what I want to do. And so I do it in these Republican areas, and you put them at risk and you stir the pot now. Don't wait till the primaries from 6 months before the election, and then you go out, try to beg for some money or whatever and try to get on there and get your name known. If you're going to get ready to run in 2 years and in 2026, you need to start now and say, yes, this is what they do to you. And you have a press conference once every 2 weeks or once a week, and you say, this is what they did to you this week. And you not be afraid to tell it like it is, because Democrats don't know how to speak to the general population, and they sure don't know how to talk to the GOPers that the majority that read and write at the 6th grade level. So you have to have that plain speech to say, and when they mention DEI, you say, okay, that is that you are racist for even bringing that crap up. And it is a program that white females benefited from that more than us, but you allowed a white supremacist in the White House to turn it around against the others. The only thing he does is to demigrate and go after the others. He just put an aviation unit and another 2 units down there on the border, 5,000 troops down on the border. So he paints like he's going to do something against these brown immigrants, but turn around and grant asylum and beg for the white, blue-eyed South African Uyghurs to come to this country. And now if you have, $100,000, you can buy a citizenship to go to the front of the line in this country.
5 million.
Huh?
It's 5 million.
5 million, yeah.
The gold card is 5 million now.
Yeah. That's the same thing Alania got. So when he she went to the front of the line, and her parents went to the front of the line when he got to the presidency. She didn't have none of them classes and none of that stuff, no swearing in and nothing that. So now, when you married her, you married her off the pole anyway. So she didn't have to work there anymore. So now you got Amazon gave her $40 million for a book, a thing that who cares about a documentary about her? What have you done? And gave her $40 million, and that was a payoff, a bribe. So and then you turn around with the Washington Post and says, I don't want none of y'all folks to write any bad news about this regime, not administration, regime, because I really don't want him to go after me, because I want to get my contracts going, because I got got, Amazon, and I got my other businesses that I'm trying to get my own cloud team. And I don't want none of that affected, because I know that this dictator will come after me, will sick the FECC on me, or the IRS and all this other stuff on me. So I don't want you to upset the apple cart. So him and other billionaires are complicit in our destruction of our democracy. Because the first time in our nation's history, and there was a book, actually there was a movie with Denzel Washington out a few years ago, talking about the Manchurian Candidate. And we have one now in the White House. We have a Russian. Comrade Trump has turned our whole nation's wheel. We've always considered Russia as an adversary, but now he is Comrade Trump's biggest butt, and is turned away 50, 60, 70 years of adversarial relationships to an enemy of this country, and is destroying with elongated muskrats, Doge, destroying our government program by gutting all the services that across this country and weakening this country. So we are weaker since Comrade Trump took the oath, who didn't touch the Bible, because he didn't want that Bible to burst into flames like the burning bush. I got some good ones today. I got some good ones.
You got some dingers, man. You got some dingers.
Yeah.
But you've always had that. I grew up with you. You always had that ability.
So we are being destroyed and weakened, and so we are weaker and abroad, and we are weaker and being destroyed from within. So, yes.
Let me ask you this, Colonel. And this will lead into that White House discussion that they had with the president. The Secretary of Defense,
oh Lord,
orders U.S. Cyber Command to cease operating of Russia. Now, I know you were in the medical field, but you were in the military. What does that do? I mean, Russia has been. We've had probably diplomatic discussions with them over the years, but they've always been our adversary, always, and will always be. So cutting off that, is that saying that we're not going to keep an eye on them or be spying on them? I mean, I guess covertly we'll be still doing some things, but
no,
he's saying he's stopping. What does that mean? In a nutshell, what does that mean?
It means that Comrade Trump is on the side of Russia.
Right.
Bottom line. And none of the agencies, they've already split the switch and says, don't touch Russia. Don't touch them. And you'll see that they've stopped giving intel to Ukraine.
Yep.
So we used to give them satellites, photos of all the troops and all the movements and supplies and all that to Ukraine. We've already stopped all that. Never hit the news, but we've stopped all that. They don't talk about it. So we are on the side of, not we, Comrade Trump and his acolytes in the GOP, because by their silence, Lindsey Graham and Marco Rubio and all the rest of them weak, spineless fools are on the side of Russia. Just think about that. You could not have, since the Oscars was last night, you could not have a screenplay written and produced to say this would happen in our lifetime, and it has. So, and we are seeing how the destruction of our constitutional rights are being taken away from everyday citizens. They've also put just like in following the Hitler playbook, you attack the press and destroy the press, and now you're saying that like the free press, they said the AP and Reuters who can't come into the briefing rooms anymore, and they put two right-wing news agencies into the White House and to go with the president wherever he goes. So you shape the press and the press now. And so if you ask this comrade tough questions and not one of the Sean Hannity questions when they get the I'm gonna let you know what this is. Read this before we go have this interview. And if you mess it up, I'm gonna direct you around and keep you out of trouble. Hannity things, and go on to Fox News, which is actually should be called state-run TV, just like in Russia. That's all they have. So there is no free press now. MSNBC used to be, and CNN used to be where you could get fair and tough news reporting. Now they have capitulated to Trump. And so it is frightening to see how far we have fallen as a country. It is scary. And then so this show, we might have to go underground and call it not Portsmouth Coffee Talk, but we'll say this is the informed, what's a good word for it? The resistance or something.
Yeah, we'd be like Tokyo Rose.
Yes, sir. And Susie Tea Party.
Yeah.
And what's crazy, you see all these reports and how people, I'm shocked at how they acted in the White House. Why are people shocked at what he showed, what he was? Who said that, made this saying, Wesley, if they show you who they are,
believe
that's
it.
who they are.
That's Maya Angelou.
Believe it. Maya Angelou
said that.
And so he showed us who he was a long time ago. And
sure did.
Sitting there, I was, taken aback, but I wasn't surprised. I wasn't shocked, that he would do something, because it was all staged for the cameras. Most people conducting diplomatic discussions, they have a front where they shake hands and smile for the camera, and they go in the back room and hash it out. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times they either come out with nothing, or they come out, and still come out, smiling and everything. But that was all for the camera, especially with this guy.
Mm-hmm. It's very interesting.
In this country's office, and you refuse to wear a suit, just want to see people. You own a suit? Yeah, problem.
Okay, that was a question in the Oval Office by somebody in attendance who we thought was a reporter, but Colonel, you said it wasn't. That was a plant as well.
It was Margaret.
With all this serious negotiation going on, they asked him
who he was?
About a suit.
Yeah, that's the press secretary's husband.
Mm.
Who that is? That's the press secretary's husband, and she got him up in there, and he did exactly what he was supposed to do. All this was just some pre-planned stuff. Mm-hmm. All this is. Watch my right hand here. Watch my right hand. Yeah, everybody look at this. And while you looking at this right hand, my left hand crawling up your ass and taking everything you got out your pockets. Mm-hmm. This is exactly what they're doing. Slim, you said that this is exactly like what Hitler did. Hitler learned this from us. Mm-hmm. Back during before World War II, he learned exactly how to be racist, how to be prejudiced, how to maneuver people around. He learned it from the United States. Mm-hmm. He took it from us, went over there and perfected it. Mm-hmm. He told people, remember this. He said that the perfect race of people, and remember, race is a construct. It ain't got nothing to do with nothing. This was built by white folks. He said the perfect race is 6 feet tall, blonde hair, and blue eyes. And he managed to put that out there and make people follow him. And he was 5'4", brown skin, black hair, and brown eyes. He was Jewish, but he was just they bought the tea, man. They went in there and got into it. One thing that they're doing now, like on the History Channel, is they're playing all these old documentaries that have been done on Hitler. My wife is sitting there, she's watching them every night. And you see now the same exact pattern. You get the media, first you get somebody to beat up on. You get a group. Hitler did the Jews, okay? We had already done black folks over here. So Hitler said, okay, who I'm gonna get? I'll do the Jews. He got the Jews. Now we back to it. We say, okay, well, we'll do the Latinos. Anybody coming from there, we'll do them. Those are the new people to beat up on. They the thieves. They taking our jobs. They raping our women. The Jews were taking their jobs. They were raping their women, and they were stealing from them. That's the same thing. That's exactly the way white folks. Now, what is amazing to me with Ukraine, Russia, and the United States and the G7, this is white on. I'm sitting back watching this. I'm just amazed because this is white on white crime right here. This is white folks going at white folks. That's all that shit is right there. Just straight up about it. And it's about minerals that Ukraine has. Putin's purpose is that he wants to take back Ukraine. Then he'll be able to move. That's his stronghold right there. He's going to be able to move from there and take over the rest of that western part of Russia and all those different little countries that at one point were part of the Soviet Union. And he's going to put the Soviet Union back together. Once he gets that right, he can then move into Poland, which was the original plan anyway. He'll move into Poland. From Poland, he'll go get Ireland. Before you know it, he got that whole area. Everything over there belongs to Russia. But we done effed around and found out. Because now I heard this morning the G7 had a meeting right after Trump cussed Z out and Zelensky out. And they got together. He flew to London. They all gathered with each other, hugged them. Baby, we got your back. We with you. We going to support you. Then somebody today or yesterday said, look, we got to revisit what we going to do with the United States. Because we cannot have a man that is a convicted felon. We cannot have a man that is on the strings of Putin. We cannot allow him. Matter of fact, why should we even invite them? Now, Trump talking about he wants to get Russia into the G7. He better try to get the United States in there because these people are now talking about you can't come up in here. Yeah. You said you didn't sided with Putin, so with Russia, so we done. We done with you. They done backed off. And back to DEI, it was supposed to have been a code word for black folks. Yeah, that was the code word. Anything DEI. They had a conference in Baltimore where you had all the top black engineers in the country, the cream of the crop, the best they had up there, and they were told, do not recruit those boys from up there. Yep. But now DEI, what you got to understand, because of DEI, that's why you got ramps up in buildings. Because of DEI, which came out of EEOC, that's why white women in particular, were able to get the jobs that they had. The disabled were able to get jobs. Everything that DEI does wasn't just for black folks. You're right, Colonel. We weren't the greatest recipients of it. The rest of them, white folks, got a whole lot of deal out of that. Okay, so they need to cut that out. When Rich McCormick, that was the representative's name, up in Roswell, the next city, because they're trying to take this voting thing. Well, they done hit the white women. They so stupid. They don't think nothing out. They came up with a law now that says that if you have your husband's last name, when you go to vote, you have to prove who you are. Meaning that white women, Chinese, everybody that's married got to go and find their birth certificate and their marriage license, and take it over there to prove that that's who they are. Now that's voter suppression straight up. That's
Yeah.
what. And so this guy, McCormick stands up, and this white woman asked him. She said, "What are you doing? That's voter suppression." Well, I'm going to have to. I don't think that's what it means, because she said, that involves 69 million people that you are keeping from voting using this law. He says, well, I don't think it was intended to keep 69 million. I'm going to have to go and review the law. Everybody jumped up at the same time, saying, you wrote the damn thing. So how you go sit there and review it? And call
And
the tell us.
video evidence of
Yeah.
everything he's done, and he just can get away with it. But
Yeah.
I want to bring up two things. Well, and you all can talk about that too. The Kennedy Center
Ooh.
and him signing an executive order making English an official language. Now, English kind of been an official language, but what he did was making that official language federally. It gets companies off the hook that don't want to also offer Spanish, which is the second language that's spoke in the United States. Because most
Right.
places you call now, they give you the option of English and Spanish. So most companies probably will continue to do that, but it's given companies the opportunity to not do that.
Mhm.
We still have a lot of people in the country that don't speak English, but to double down on making English the official language, and we've been here all these years, we know that's the official language. It just it gives that executive order some federal teeth to stop, offering, opportunities for people that don't speak
Yeah.
the language.
They're
And
saying,
you hear it all the time. Y'all don't speak English. And all this stuff is coming from what I call the trailer park boy. And the Kennedy Center. And Colonel, just like you said, they're gonna come after us. We're a small social media operation, not thinking that maybe they will come at us, but if they're going after the Kennedy Center, which is for the arts, why would they want that? And that's definitely a dictator. They want control of everything.
They want control.
And
Yes.
and the arts has, in most cases, doesn't have a lot to do with politics. It's just about honoring those people that are in that area. And most of those people that are in the arts and in that area are liberal thinkers. So he's coming after that, replacing the board. Why would the president? I guess he's never been invited.
that's what I was getting ready to say.
Why would the
Remember,
president
there's
want to
everything
make
that's
himself
going on
the
now.
chairman of that?
There's an undertow to it. That like the Kennedy Center. You're exactly right. He's never been invited. Then he doesn't understand what they do, and when they talk, they're at the Kennedy Center. They talk about him and how he's not doing anything because the Kennedys can't stand it. Now, to get back, they never involved Robert Jr. in any of the Kennedy family stuff because he was a drug addict, because he was a shyster, because he got his cousin killed. So they didn't have a lot to do with him. This is where Trump pays people back. But now that I done took that Kennedy Center out, you owe me for things I need to get done. We got to get Big Pharma back. We got to get these big pharmacies and get them, because, by them getting rid of some of the things that Medicare had and Obamacare healthcare had on there, he's written an executive order to get rid of some of the price controls. One of the senators says, when the Republicans said, wait a minute, hold up. My wife is diabetic. she was paying $12 for a pen. Now it's gone back up to $78.
Mhm.
So they, they cutting their nose off to spite the face. It's one of the saddest things that I've ever seen. Kamala Harris tried to tell us. She stood there and she constantly put it out there. If you do this, Putin gonna run this country, and we are about to be Russia East or Russia West, West Russia. That's who we gonna be sooner or later if they keep on going like they're going. But his wife, back to his wife, she did do something that I would like to know why she did it. The Rose Garden was a part of the history of this nation. And every first lady I think it was from Madison, from Dolly Madison, or either Lincoln's wife, planted something out there. So you had trees, shrubs, flowers that cannot be, they dug that entire thing up, the entire piece in his first term. Remember, too, in Trump's first term, when he was running the campaign, he used to tell this story about the lady and the snake. And the snake finally bit the lady after she nursed it back to health. And the lady said, "Why did you bite me?" And Trump would say, well, the snake told him, "I'm a snake. That's what I do." Trump was telling the people when he was running, he was a snake. I done told you who I am. Y'all just ain't believe me, and you ran right back out there and you did it again. So it's Slim. I'm gonna do like the black women doing, and I'm gonna sit back and say, "How you voted for him? How is that working for you right now?" I want to know how that's working for you, because the thing about us, our saving grace, is that we as a people our age, we've been there before. We were in Portsmouth doing before civil rights was even invented. We were there when Jim Crow was large and in charge. Now his grandson get ready to come back out. Jim Crow Jr. He's coming out there now. Jim Crow the third. He's getting ready to ride it up. But we know what to do. We've been there, and I think you asked that question, Slim. What do we do? And Colonel, you hit right on it. The time now is we've got to start getting ready for this next election, not the presidential, but this next 2 years that's coming up. We got to get ready and get rid of, because it's going to be if we could have the election right now, I guarantee you the House and the Senate be full of so many Democrats, you'd be sick of them at the end. But we got to get ready. We got to find some more Jasmine Crockett's out there.
Yes.
We've got to find some more AOCs. Now, it was in Ohio, either Ohio or Minnesota. They did have the Democrats had a town hall meeting. And this man stood up and told his representative, he said, "Look, I want to see you do like John Lewis did." And I was shocked. I was like, "Oh my God, did he say John Lewis?" And because John Lewis would have stood up and got arrested and fought these people to the end. That's what the Democrats got to do. They got to find them balls in there like John had and sit in the middle of the House and sit on the floor and said, "I'm not moving. This bill ain't going nowhere," and get arrested for it. The man told me, he said, "Because if you got arrested, I was right behind you. I'd be right in the jail cell with you." Because you got to get in good trouble. That's that good trouble that John talks about. Now, we've got to also say that the Republican Party, they got to come. Those of y'all that done got burned now, here you go. Your diabetic pen is now back up to $100. You were sitting there at the CDC working your job every day, making sure the country was safe from diseases. But now you sitting on the street. You with the homeless black folks that you used to talk about and walk over. Now you out there with them.
Yeah.
So they've got to now come to some realization that this man is not good for this country at all. It's definitely not part of the democratic society the right that this country was based on, that life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness was our right. Now they dictating what's gonna be your right. You know, they've talked about interracial marriages in some states is on the line again. Gay marriage, I know that's gonna be gone. Just
Mhm.
like the abortion thing is gone. Gay marriage is the next one up there that's gonna be gone. And then interracial, I want to see what Clarence Thomas gonna do with that ugly white woman he married to. But anyway, that's gonna be one of those things that we have to, as a nation, we have got to see that we've been here before, and the Constitution was written. It was written to prevent this. But if you got control and you just following the king, you know, the other when he was in the meeting with Zelensky, he told him, you, who was it? He told no, it was a reporter. You can't talk to me like that. You can't. I'm the president. I'm the president. You can't. I'm the president. You can't talk to me like that. There's a movie scene that the same thing happened. And one of the elders in the room with the king, he says, if you have to tell somebody that you are the king, you're not the king.
Mhm.
The king at all. So that's where we've got to let this man know we don't have a king. We have a constitution, and this is the people's house. Your house, your public living that you living in, that house is a project. It's just like the project. We paid for that house you living in, and that's why you there. Now you can go the hell on back down to Mar-a-Lago and try to run it if you want to, but it ain't gonna work. It
Mhm.
ain't. I'm scared that we might be looking at a coup coming up from the military because he's messing with them bad, Colonel.
Yeah. Oh Lord.
He's
Yes.
messing with the military bad. That's bad. That's real bad. You don't do this stuff right there.
Well, you mentioned the military, so you got a drunk alcoholic sec def who immediately fires the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff because of one thing: he's black.
Right.
Because he's black. You turn to the commandant of the Coast Guard. You
Yes,
fire
sir.
her because
Because
why? She's a white woman.
dress up.
Then over the weekend, you forced the resignation of a 3-star general, black female, who was the head of the Defense Health Agency, who was in charge of all the health care for the military. You force her resignation, and she did the right thing in saying, I'm not going to make these cuts that you're demanding of me. So she decided to put her resignation in. Lieutenant General Crossland.
Right, exactly.
Yes. More than qualified than any white man that you want to put up there in her place.
Mm-hmm.
And then so you appointed another some doctor that has no military or background, you know, another DEI hire, which is a white male, to put it, you know, hold him to stay while you look for the another lackey, white male lackey, to take her place. And they are gutting the military and taking basically, and it's going to come down to it when they have with the brown shoes, just like in Hitler, the marching through the streets, and you have to be careful. You cannot protest. Black folks, if there is a protest march, you got to make sure that you're blending in with the white folks because they're coming after us.
Coming.
They're coming.
Coming, baby.
So you have to be careful on how we think about twice on how we protest things in the future, because there are no more protests, especially on this guy, because he will actually turn the military over. And I wouldn't put it past him to say, military, go out there and use lethal force.
That's right. He wanted to do it the last time in 2020, but they somebody that was an adult in the room said, "Hell no, we ain't doing that."
But now there are no adults in the room.
Right.
All we have is Stephen Miller, who is the pseudo head of almost like the KKK, but I'll just say he's a white nationalist, and he's running things and putting things out, and in that whole cabinet of billionaires, and they don't care about America. They don't care. And then we got to get the Senate back too, because the Senate, who approved all these all these senators for his cabinet and all these undersecretaries, they're voting for these white supremacists. And so it's all about, you have to say, it's all about white supremacy. And then so those who are running for these offices in the future need to be able to say, have this same conversation with the general population, and not be afraid to say, not just say, how you like me now, is this what you wanted? But you have to be able to say, these folks are white supremacists, and we have a government or a head lead executive that is basically a Manchurian candidate that is destroying this government from within, and that your kids and your grandkids will never live a better life than what you are doing now. And your life now is being affected. Look at where your price of eggs are at. Where is the interest rate? Where is the cost of that house that you want to buy? Everything is going up. He has promised that he was going to do all this stuff. And you look at all the executive orders that he's put out, not one thing has done is he gone out there to help anybody, not even his own supporters. Not one. Not one. And then so you have to draw that context and put it out there, and not be afraid. Not be afraid. And that's the way it is. So we are coming down to the end of this hour. So I will use that with my last monologue as my ending. And so I'll leave this up to you, Wesley.
Well, Colonel, I agree with you 100%. And we, I want the young people, because I'm not sure how they're going to react if the way it's going, that it's going to be back to where certain restaurants and bars and bathrooms we won't be able to go to again, because that's when America was great. I'm not sure how they're going to handle it, because they often say that, well, we not built like y'all. We couldn't have done what y'all did. Yeah, you would have gotten killed. We were tough. John Lewis got beat up. People got murdered, but we kept on marching. I fear that they would give up. They're going to give up and run. And we stayed there on the front line. We made sure that we were going to be protected. The old boys, they stood the guard down there. Where was it? They used to go down to, because I would drive Rem Waters over to 3rd Baptist and 4th Baptist with Scott, and they would have these planning meetings on what we were going to do to maintain and get the Civil Rights Bill passed. We stood there and took it, was spit on, cursed at, food thrown up, never reacted, because that's what they want. They want us so that they can keep on all this. Watch over here what I'm doing, because I'm getting ready to steal all your money. And then I'm going to live in Russia for the rest of my life. And this is a heist. This is a heist. And democracy has got to rise. And I pray to God, and that's to me is our greatest hope, is that our humanity and our Christianity is going to hold on and get us to where we got to go. And not the national Christians, which I can't believe where they coming from. They don't like nobody. but they call themselves Christian, and they do everything that is not Christian. They anti-Christ, actually. They kind of like Trump. You know, he didn't test that Bible. No, sir. No, sir. Because he don't believe in it. And here's and Putin, Musk, and Trump together, they could care less about the American citizens. And if you don't believe it, just watch what they're doing. Just watch how they when they get rid of the Department of Education, they're gonna kill breakfast and lunch for kids where that's the only meal that they got. Some congressman said one time, "Oh yeah, well, when I was 13 years old, I went and got me a job. So now you want children to have to go back to work. Well, what about the 5 to 6 or 7-year-old that can't work? How they gonna eat?
Yep.
You know, how they gonna eat? You talking about 13, 14? Yeah, I had a job when I was that age, but I was able to do it and think. But the young ones don't have that. And we've got to make sure that we get back. You right, Colonel, we got to make sure that this next election, this midterm election coming up, that we take everything back. Because if we don't, it's done.
It's done.
Done.
All right, gentlemen, thanks a lot, and we appreciate it. And this has been the hot topics for this Monday. And want you to remember this March is Women's History Month.
Oh,
And our Mondays, we're going to have some remarkable women on here. Wesley, you might know the O's twins. One was a judge and one was a doctor. Ellen.
Oh, yeah, I want to meet them next time I come home.
They're scheduled to be on here near the end of the month, and we're going to have some other remarkable women. The O's twins, they're retired now, and they are doing a lot of talking about their experiences as twins and in their professions all around. So hopefully we'll have a good conversation with the two of them on here near the end of the month. So we're going to make sure we honor the women like they deserve to be honored this month, and mixing some politics in there too as well. So thanks everybody for watching, and please remember to like, subscribe, comment, and share this information. And I want to thank the Colonel. I want to thank Wes, for being the commentators today on Portsmouth Coffee Talks podcast. Take care, and we'll see you next time. Be our guest on the Portsmouth